Alright, everybody, welcome. This is TheBenjanator.
And I am ErrorCode.
Yes, we have a new guest who's going to be joining us for this LP. And you are watching Let's Play Final Fantasy X. So, this is exciting. This is kind of a new setup. And we're going to be showing you this game, which of course was, as you can see on the screen, well, what you could see on the screen before it decided to go back into the intro, was, basically produced in late 2001, which is when I picked it up. So we're going to start a new game. You're going to be witnessing the intro that myself and Code have seen at least 70 billion times.
Oh, it's 70 billion and one at this point.
Yes. So, this was the first Final Fantasy game on the PlayStation 2.
It was the first Final Fantasy to have 3D backgrounds and voice acting.
Well, yes. And, Code and I will be, lovingly harassing the game for its voice acting throughout most of this experience, by the way.
And we'll also be loving on some of the character designs, like lovely Lulu that you can see there.
Yes. You will see a lot more of her.
Seriously, Tomb Raider, eat your fucking heart out.
Yes, exactly. So this is the, by the way...
Am I allowed to swear on this thing?
Oh, you definitely are.
Oh, nice. Fuck yeah. Alright.
I don't think that the YouTube gods are going to be punishing us for this, but
I don't know. They are a wrathful sort.
Well, they did punish me for putting in a 5-second clip of the Back to the Future music in my Chrono Trigger LP, but
that's okay. We just went back in time and fixed it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good thing about that.
It was an event that nobody remembers.
Yep.
So believe it or not, you will also see this scene later on in the game. This is a reproduction of a scene that you will see later. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of it's foreshadowing, I guess. I guess would be the proper term.
Yep.
It's also a common means in most TV shows.
It's
and
actually
movies.
As I recall, there is some writing term for telling stories out of order.
Yeah.
I used to know it.
It's temporal displacement, I think, is the term.
That's Star Trek.
Yeah.
I hate temporal mechanics. I hate temporal mechanics so much. All right, let's see here.
Yep.
Listen to my story.
Oh wow! So, by the way, Code and I tried to do this recording just on a laptop using a ROM, and last week. The voice acting sounded so incredibly wrong that the main character sounded like he was stoned out of his mind.
Yeah, well, at first he did, and that was kind of funny. And then it slowed down even more, and he sounded like he had freaking Asperger's.
Yeah, for you folks at home that ever try to do an LP of your own with a PS2 emulator, the only way that you can basically use it with a ROM is if you have a very, very, very fast computer. Even if you have something, my laptop is 8 gigabytes. It doesn't work out very well. So you're better off doing what I do, getting a capture device, plugging it in, getting some kind of software that projects the image and sound onto your computer, and just using that. Much easier. Meanwhile, we're in what looks like either a mid-'80s or late '90s music video. I can't tell which one.
I love making fun of those music videos, but I wouldn't be that mean to them. This is its own version of what the fuck.
Yep.
Although, interesting, another first for Final Fantasy X. It's the first Final Fantasy where they take it out of the medieval Europe setting.
Oh, yes!
And this is very much based off of Japanese and Thailand's aesthetics. So it has a much more Asian feel to it, which, hey, Japan, makes sense. So that I thought was interesting too. I actually did research for this.
Oh, yes. It's Code is going to be full of factoids for this. So anyway, now we can move our main character, who obviously doesn't know how to dress himself. But yes, he is a famous blitzball player, which is a game that, well,
of course,
Code and I are not the biggest fans of. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
So in the
or nope, whichever way.
In the tradition of last week, we have decided to delete one letter from this character's name, and he is now Tidou.
Yep.
No matter what anybody says, it's Tidou.
Actually, oddly enough, Nobody really knew how his name was supposed to be pronounced. You and I, of course, like
Yeah.
most people, called him Titus.
Titus.
But, which makes sense because that's how his name is freaking written. But apparently it was supposed to be Titus.
Titus. Yeah, and they kind of clarify that in Kingdom Hearts. He shows up in Kingdom Hearts, guys, which is a great game. I'm not sure why he shows up in that game, but
Well, it's because most of Kingdom Hearts took its fashion tips from Titus here. Or Titus.
apparently.
And that's possibly one of the greatest sins of this game. Is that it made its fashion sense infective disease.
Oh, yes.
And now every time I go to Anime Boston, I get to see people dressed up like him.
Yeah, KH has a lot of ridiculous fandom. Actually, so does this game, believe it or not.
Well, gotta go.
Well,
To a lesser extent, but...
I can believe that, though, because this is... As much as we're going to make fun of it, I love this game.
It's
I really do.
Yeah, it's one of the recommended ones, folks. It's there are some people out there they're gonna pan this game, but those people are usually neckbeards or hipsters.
They are lying liars that lie.
Lying liars that lie.
I mean, tomorrow.
Okay, so meanwhile, our main character is seeing a vision of what looks like a 8-year-old shaman that randomly is telling him things. So, but meanwhile, he's just kind of greasing fandom at the moment, which is something that happens. Meanwhile, yes, the skyline of the city known as Xanarkin, just so you guys know. And it looks somewhat polluted. That's a lot of smog in the background.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, it could just be the giant monster about to destroy them all. We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah. We're gonna try to minimize spoilers, folks, but
My bad.
Meanwhile, the guy in the building is the worst person in the world.
He's one of them. He's kind of a douche.
Yeah, he's
He's a
quite
serious douche.
His name is Jekt, and yes, I'm controlling him right now. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun just making the main character run around in circles like this. It doesn't accomplish anything. Unlike Mario 64, where you can get some extra coins.
We sat up talking about Jack all night.
Whenever they do this type of
My
stuff,
dad
we
and I
should
never
let
talk so much.
the viewers hear
Didn't mean
what's
to
being
reminisce,
said.
folks.
Oh, I can adjust that
Anyway,
with volume. It's
10
fine.
years later, the Jack Memorial Cup tournament is today. The two teams
Alrighty,
that have
so-
won through to the finals are, of course, the Abes from A East and the Duggles from C South.
Of course, because you would all know that, having played this game for a full less than 10 minutes.
Of course, yes.
In just 1 year,
There's some NPCs in this game that just
He's Jack's
will
blood
give you
from the
information
new
that
Prince
you really...
What kind
Sometimes
of
you wonder about its
secret will you show
purpose,
us
and
today?
other times you just kind of wonder
Will we
how
see
they
his
know this
father's
information.
legendary shot?
It's somewhat...
I don't think I'm the only
I
one
don't
excited
even know the
here,
word.
folks.
But yeah, the thing you have to understand, folks, is that unfortunately the NPCs don't have voiceovers. That would just be way too much memory for 2001.
Yep.
And also, I think that they would have to contract a bunch of part-time voice actors to do one line, which would be a hilarious process if you think about it. Alright, so as Code was commenting, it's really weird that this guy is famous and has absolutely no bodyguards whatsoever. He's
Yep.
just he's kind of...
seriously, it'd be like A-Rod walking around freaking downtown Manhattan with just everybody walking around being like, oh, look, that's one of the most well-paid people on Earth. And
as you can see right here, so he's trying to get to his game.
yeah,
He has no bodyguards.
It's like they want him to die.
Yeah.
It's like they hate him as much as we do.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten his ass grabbed like 70,000 times
He might have.
by a horde of 14-year-old women.
Remember, hey. Do not you dare make comparisons to Justin Bieber. I hate Taidu, but I don't hate him that much.
But true,
That's
I mean,
not
but his
even
outfit
fair.
is somewhat similar.
You know, I honestly don't know enough about Justin Bieber to tell you if that's true or not.
I'm cursed. I have the same initials as him.
Fair enough. Oh my god, we're missing it. Alright, everybody, this is one of the best, and by that I mean most ridiculous parts of the game.
Right, yeah.
Drown ball.
It's one of these... This is a scene where a lot of stuff happens at once. we already kind of spoiled it a little bit, but it's the impact is still pretty awesome.
Yep.
And also what you're hearing in the background is essentially an attempt at a death metal song, which back in those days was pretty epic, but now you kind of listen to it, it just sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Like when this game came out, you gotta, for those of you who aren't old enough to know, these graphics were freaking amazing. They blew everybody away.
By the way,
this music came on and we were like, yeah! And then we were playing it last week and we were like, oh, that's cute. They're trying.
Yeah, especially since we're basically right now playing it on TV that we played it on
15
years ago, yeah. So if you guys don't understand what's going on as far as this game goes, we really don't either.
Yeah, we can't help it. There's water that's made by some sort of an energy ball at the beginning of it, which I can only assume means that, by the way, I love that thing with like the droplets floating there.
Right, yeah.
Which I can only assume means that they lit off a fusion bomb in the center of that thing, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do and kill everybody.
Also, by the way, the character that you saw with the awesome robot, his name is Orin. He's our favorite character.
He's everybody's favorite character.
And
if Orin isn't your favorite character, then you are a robot.
Yep.
And you should not be trusted.
Precisely. And also one other thing too is that you noticed, and this was a couple minutes ago, but Orin raised his jug to the oncoming wave. That isn't by accident.
Yeah. No, it's not.
That's not just like some kind of thing to make it look cool. There's some significance behind that. So
this is true.
And meanwhile, the entire city's getting destroyed.
Yep.
Insanity ensues. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the drug habits are of blitzball players, but it's very possible that he thinks he's just having a hallucination at this point.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, what would you guys need to be on to have somebody say, here, get into this big sphere of water for 20 minutes at a time. No, you don't have an air tank with you. That would be no air tanks.
All right, so we're in evacuation mode. So all the ridiculously dressed people are running away, looking like they're unscathed, actually.
Yeah. I mean, for people who just had giant fireballs flying through their city.
All right,
we get to start.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Folks, I want you guys to notice something really important, and that is one of the most useful tools in this game, and that is the mini-map in the upper left-hand corner.
Dear God, do we love the mini-map.
It's one of the best things ever, so obviously...
Without the mini-map, this game would be impossible to play.
Alright, so basically, where you are is the little yellow triangle. Obviously, it's pointing in the direction that you're going, and the red one is actually where the game wants you to go, so there's some helpful linearity in this sense. As we get further on into the game, that little red triangle will disappear. I forgot my shapes. Alright, so yes, there's Orin.
Actually, I think the last time either of us took a geometry class was like when we were playing this game, so...
Oh, yes. With some pretty hilarious math teachers, if I recall.
Oh man, that one was awesome.
Alright, so now we're trying to evacuate. Actually, right now the rest of the city doesn't look too bad. Okay, well, minus the flaming buildings in the background.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna see our protagonist flail around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and now he's hallucinating again. There's a little kid.
Yep.
And also, it's really nice to see this game run smoothly, because last time it took Tito about 14 minutes to
get to this
to move about 3 feet.
Yeah. No, it's pretty bad.
Oh yeah. All right. So yeah, he's seeing some hallucinations. He's not exactly sure what's going on. And
this is the worst trip ever, man.
Yeah, if this is a trip, this is a pretty scary trip.
It's the last time I let Waka get me my drugs.
Hey, wait!
War foreshadowing. All right, so yes, we are going to be encountering our first battle pretty soon. And now this is the part of the game when I first played this game. My PlayStation actually was defective, so this is about the part where it's screwed up.
That was a bad day.
Yeah.
We were so fucking pissed.
Right, yeah. And that is a giant water ball in suspended animation.
That's actually a Borg sphere that isn't rendering properly.
Exactly. Sin! Okay, so folks, this game doesn't actually have as many Judeo-Christian overtones as you might think. There are a few, but...
Yeah, actually, in addition to its visual shift towards a more Asian look at things, There's also a cultural shift towards it too. Although there are definite parallels between Christianity and some of the religions.
All right, now
Here, Titus, take this sword.
take the sword.
I'll lift you up with it. Don't ask me where I got this sword.
So this is the fastest learning transition on the face of the planet right now.
Yep.
Because this is him, flailing around the sword, not knowing what the fuck to do.
Yep. I don't know about you guys, but the first time I used the sword, I fell on my ass because I swung it twice.
I think the first time I used a sword was one of the wood ones at King Richard's Fair.
Good times, good times.
Which barely counts.
Yep.
For any of you out there that know what King Richard's Fair is, good on you.
Actually, no, bad on you. It's a terrible place. Don't go there.
With really terrible food.
Oh man.
And rotisserie pigs.
Yeah. And
all right. So anyway,
good,
so first of all, guys, if you guys are familiar with the ATB gauge that's in previous Final Fantasies, does not exist in this game. It's pretty much whoever's turn it is based on your agility statistic and a bunch of other random factors. So it's pretty much sequential.
It's actually a lot like Chrono Trigger to an extent.
Yeah. It's like
Which is a
Chrono
good
Trigger has an
thing.
ATB gauge though. Is the thing.
Is it?
It does, yeah. It actually has a gauge that fills up and so forth.
All right,
But-
I learned a thing today.
I learned the thing. But okay, so right now, Tidou only can attack and use items, so he can only do that. He does his little flail thing. Whereas Auron has Power Break, which right now lowers your attack power. You will get more abilities later. We're going to explain how it works in this game. It's a little bit confusing, but we'll get there. And so Auron does more damage because he's more badass.
Auron is all of the badass.
Yeah, Auron is... We're going to be using Auron a lot in this game. Other characters, not so much.
Auron's kind of like a... that's a terrible analogy, and I'm not going to use it.
Alright, so right now, we don't have to kill all of the enemies, and unfortunately, they don't use this mechanic as much in later parts of the game.
No, they don't, and it just drives me insane, because...
Yeah, exactly.
Another fun fact about this game, and they couldn't do it because of hardware constraints, but the enemies in this game were supposed to be free-flowing on the map. You were supposed to be able to see them and be able to dodge them, and they couldn't do that. So you'll be walking around, and depending on where you are, every 3 steps in some places, you're going to get attacked.
Yeah, the encounter rate in this game can be pretty bad.
Oh, man, and there's really, as I recall, no way to stop it.
Right, yeah. There's no items in this game, unfortunately, folks, that will lower encounter rates.
There's no
But there
repel.
are some that will cut them off altogether, which can be useful.
Yep.
But there's no reducers.
You're gonna be. It's the Zubats all over again.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Alright, so now we're going to be introducing another fun mechanic of this game, and that is the overdrive system, which if you played Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and to an extent 9, is a lot like limit breaks. So, but the way they do it in this game is actually pretty cool. So basically, this is kind of a standard setting right now, but you can switch it up later. You incur a certain amount of damage, you're able to use your overdrive. Later on, you can actually change how you charge your overdrive gauge, which makes it really fun when you want to break the game. So, something to keep in mind. So, Auron has Bushido, and this is actually kind of cool. So you have to enter in a sequence like you're playing an old Capcom game. I just have to get it right, which I didn't. But it was enough to kill these enemies. So next time I'll try to get that.
It makes you wonder what the hell he has in that sword.
Yeah. Probably plutonium.
Probably.
Alright, so of course he's using Demi, which, as you guys know if you ever play Final Fantasy, halves your HP. Which is based on the Latin word for half, which is I think demimos or something. I don't know. I've never taken Latin. Okay, I'm really bad at the overdrives right now. I'm extremely rusty, but you get the idea. Stuff happens. Okay, another nice little thing to point out is you see in the right side of the screen, that gives you a projection of whose turns will be what, which is really, really useful. A lot of fun. And so later on, when you can really kind of juice up the stats of these characters, you can actually make it so the enemy doesn't get a turn until like six turns later, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah, there are ways to. This game has a lot of side quests and has a lot of ways to basically make your characters, Greek gods.
dude, they make your Greek Your typical Greek gods look like fucking pansies.
Right, exactly.
They make Greek gods look like the Greek economy. It's... You see, Benji here is laughing because that's so unabashedly true. It's not even funny.
Yeah, that's kind of a highbrow joke. I approve.
Don't worry, there won't be too many of those of this.
Yeah, we're going to be probably aiming for mid to lowbrow, but
Yep.
every once in a while there'll be some, some esoteric reference.
Yep. Ooh, esoteric.
Yep.
Excellent use of that word.
There we are. Alright, so, by the way, Auron, probably one of the best abilities that Auron's going to be the first one to get, which is really, really vital to this game. You won't be getting it for a while, is the skill known as Armor Break. This is probably one of the most important skills in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to get through the beginning of this game without it.
Yeah. Especially later on when you fight, like, Iron Giants. Iron Giants, you guys have ever played Final Fantasy, you encounter those guys at the end of the game. They're big, they have, very, very unaerodynamic swords.
That is a very accurate statement. I have nothing to add to that. That's pretty true.
Unaerodynamic swords. But then again, if you guys have ever played Final Fantasy VII, the main character, Cloud, he has a very unaerodynamic sword, too. So.
Yes, he does. Save point.
Oh, sorry, I missed the save point, guys, but that's okay. I missed it the first time we did the recording of this as well.
Yep. This is true.
That's okay.
What are you laughing at?
And meanwhile, Tito has priorities. Instead of getting out of the city that's
know, the
burning
whole
down,
fucking city is on fire, people are dying, there's screaming,
Yep.
there's weird fucking tentacle crab monster things trying to kill him and his buddy Auron.
Yep.
What are you looking at, old man? It's like, you should be screaming and running, that's it.
Yep. Alright, so the fact that I missed the save point is going to make this battle a little bit more tricky, but I've worked in the clutch before. I think I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
If I end up dying, we'll
have a good laugh.
Yeah. We will go through this whole process again and then pick up where we're left off. It's absolutely fine. If you guys have watched my previous LPs, there are final bosses where I've died 5 times, so.
Seymour Flux.
Seymour Flux, yes. That is a name. If you guys are watching this, that will live in infamy until we fight Seymour Flux. All right, so
I'm not joking. It took us like what, 2-3 weeks to beat that guy.
Yeah.
And how do we just this stupid random? I think we used every freaking massive attack that we possibly could as quickly as we could. Mm-hmm. So before we understood anything about how you could make these characters truly broken. It was like back when we were 14, 15 years old. So.
All right, so fun game mechanic, guys. You have to actually attack this what looks like a downed oil tanker, because if you don't, what's basically going to happen is that those little spiny dudes are going to just keep coming back. So this is kind of, again, a mechanic of the game that is not used well enough. I don't think.
Often enough.
Often enough. Yes, it is used very well, just not often. And one little nifty thing too. When you're fighting bosses, typically, if you see that there is a different camera angle, it means you've killed the boss. So right now, this is kind of your typical camera angle, but as you'll see, if it goes at it from, like that, it means you've defeated the boss. So that's kind of a nice little indication, like you can start celebrating before the boss is technically dead.
Yep. Because you know. See, you had to give your father crap, and now he's gonna kill you.
Yeah, if you destroyed a downed oil tanker, for you guys have ever seen those Michael Bay movies, you know what happens. Everything blows up. Yeah, but now they...
That, by the way, was just another example of Auron being a badass.
Right, yes. And now of course, we
whole highway's blowing up. Go.
We have our 90s movie slow-mo jump.
Yep. This puts 90s movies slow-mo jumps to shame.
Right, yeah. But it's usually a guy who, like, has Smith like hair like Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Mm-hmm. Alright, so this is the part when the game ends and we all die.
Yep, and you get sucked into a floating anus in the sky.
Right.
I would just like to point this one out here. Everybody gives Superman crap about doing this, so I'm gonna give Final Fantasy X crap about doing this. You've got sections of highway floating up faster than what's going on here, and Titus can't pull himself up onto this street.
Right, yeah, this is...
So why is it that that he can't pull himself up onto the street when there's all this stuff clearly heavier than he is being pulled into the floating anus? It doesn't make any sense at all.
This is what we call a sodomizing of physics.
Yes.
Pun very much intended.
Did I say floating anus? I meant flaming floating anus. My bad.
Alright, so...
And I don't blame Taidu here. I would have the exact same
So this is
reaction.
The part where we're going to find out if this really was an acid trip, because this would be the logical conclusion.
Spoiler alert, it's not. There's a whole rest of the game.
Yeah, sorry folks.
Hey!
I was about to say, this has been the Benjanator in code with Final Fantasy X. With Final Fantasy X, I hope you've enjoyed it, but no, there is a rest of the game.
Yep.
So this is the Evangelion portion of the game where you're floating around in a giant thing, and
Yep. Remember, kicking your legs makes you sink when you're in water.
Yep.
Or
exactly.
floating in the air.
Whee!
One of the two. I don't.
So unfortunately, folks,
I don't even know anymore.
There's no secret passages around here. There's no really powerful swords that you can get at this point in the game.
Nope, just a giant floating burning J.
Yep. Which again, we talk about foreshadowing. There's going to be some more foreshadowing. There's a lot of that in
Where
this
I
game.
was,
Actually,
what I got myself
considering
into,
how this is going to be
started to
in
feel
Kingdom Hearts, that actually looked surprisingly like a Peter Pan scene, didn't it?
That kind of does, yeah.
A little bit.
I think I
Yeah,
had to
minus the sparkles, if I recall. There was a lot of sparkles in that
I
part of
wanted
the game.
someone, anyone
But
beside
sparkles
me,
are cool.
so I didn't
I
have
like
to
the
feel
sparkle.
alone
Yeah,
anymore.
sparkles are okay as long as it's as long as we're not watching the Twilight movies.
No, those aren't sparkles. That's cancer.
Yeah, that's just horrendous.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're waking up in what appears to be the 5th Indiana Jones movie. Or something.
Grease, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah,
Let's just keep the Grease jokes coming.
The Grease joke, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Anybody there?
Meanwhile, this is some kind of 19th century poetic symbolism. It's like the Raven and the Albatross poem all put together.
Don't see why not.
Yep.
Makes just as much sense as anything else that's going on right now.
Oh, I was about to say something highbrow, actually. But we'll sit.
There's nothing highbrow about this thing.
Well, there is something highbrow about the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, but
Yeah.
all right. So now we're swimming around in a flooded temple. The tides have arisen, and so as you can see right now, we're very nicely using the radar, because as you can see, it outlines actually the structures of the temple. We can see we got some pillars over here, and it's saying, "Hey asshole, please go north."
Yep.
So that way you're not swimming around getting mixed up with the camera angles.
Yep.
It's very useful.
Another
Unlike, there were a lot of N64 games that didn't have the mini map, and it made getting lost very easy.
You guys can't see, but I'm vigorously nodding my head here.
Yes. Code is in absolute agreement. So, all right. Now we're gonna get to see a save point. You're gonna see how it works. Just a hint, guys. It works a lot like most save points do. But this one, you just talk to it, and it restores your HP and MP, which is kind of useful.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use a 10 or anything. So we are going to save, and that was the first session of Let's Play Final Fantasy X with the Benjanator and Code. Thank you guys for watching, and
Have a nice night.
yeah, we'll see you later.
Or day. I don't know when you're watching this.
Take care.